Okay, as you can see, I've decided to tackle the Fast and Furious first. So we'll start with the first one, the Fast and Furious. Came out in 2001. And just a little history with me with these movies. I wasn't interested in these movies when they first came out. Not at all. I'm not a car person. I wasn't into car movies at all. It was later, around after the time the third one, Tokyo Drift, was released on DVD. Was released on DVD that my friend was like, "You gotta watch these." I'm like, "I don't know," and I was like a senior in high school, probably out of high school by then. But he's like, "Just come over to my place, crash at his place," and we watched all three of them at the time, and I really liked them so much I started going to them in theaters, and I've been to every one since Fast and Furious, except for Hobbs and Shaw. I didn't go see Hobbs. Yeah, I did. I'm stupid. I went to see Hobbs and Shaw. I'm an idiot. Yeah, I've seen every single one of them since Fast and Furious in the theater. So yeah, I've been keeping on track with those. I think me watching through this, the best thing I could say about this film at this point, the first film, is that even back then the cast all had incredible chemistry. It's too bad that not all of the cast has come back. I mean, you got Jesse, spoiler alert, he dies at the end, and then at the end of this, Letty goes off, Leon goes off. What the hell happened to Leon? Leon is the only character we never gone back to. Now, if we want to wrap up the franchise, we got 2 films left. They could go back to it, but we just never saw Leon after the first one. He just disappeared. We get to see Vince in 5. Letty comes back in 4. Vin Diesel, he comes back in technically 3, even though we'll get to the wibbly wobbly timey-wimey stuff when it comes to the continuity of these movies and the chronology that these movies exist in. I'll be reviewing these movies as they were released, not in chronology. Which may be easier, I don't know. But what I could say is, from the minute this movie started to the minute this movie ended, I enjoyed it. Like, really, really enjoyed it. Like, I was quoting lines, I was laughing when it was funny, what you're supposed to do, and I just really enjoyed this movie. It's not the best of the franchise, it's one of the best. It'll definitely be in my top 5 when I go to rank them, but, and I won't be ranking these movies, I don't know if I'm done, but I won't be ranking these movies until after 9 comes out, so I can get them all together. But yeah, 9 is supposed to come out sometime this year. Wait for that. As the movies have gone along, they've sort of changed their premise. The first 3 are about street racing. You get to 4, and they're street racing mixed with this undercover stuff, which has always been a part of the thing, except for the third one. Like, the first 2 had undercover stuff, and then the third one was just basically street racing, and then the fourth one's got the undercover stuff with some street racing. Once you get to 5, there's no more undercover. The street racing thing is kind of dialed back, and it's more of Fugitives on the Run, and that's the next 2 films. And then you get to 7 and 8, and they're like spy films. They say that 5 and 6 are also heist films, and you get to 7 and 8, they're spy films. I don't know. They kind of, but I'm hoping the last 2 kind of connect back to that. I thought they were going to do it with 7, but then we got that. Well, we'll get to that one. And there's some sort of problems with some characters and the way they want to do it. We'll get to those movies when we get to those movies. But this one Gee, what can I think of that's negative for this movie? Well, like from the acting to even the cinematography and the music. You hear the music in this, and right away you're like, oh, this was early 2000s. You got like Limp Bizkit, Limp Bizkit has 2 songs. I may be wrong. But they had that keep rolling, 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 and there's one, make me a superstar. That's either Limp Bizkit or Saliva, one of the two. But they get that early 90s, or the early 2000s music. Watch your back! Watch your back. I found myself nodding my head to a lot of the music in this movie. And the music has been one of the best things about the franchise, even though it's kind of fizzled out after 7. I think that 8 and Hobbs and Shaw didn't have very good music. And this isn't my favorite opening to a Fast and the Furious movie. That'd be 6. And we'll get to that one. 7 is a close second, but like, and Paul Walker, what can you say about Paul Walker? Paul Walker and Vin Diesel, from the very beginning, had some sort of connection that they just went off each other. I could tell in this movie they were just they got some sort of connection with each other where they can just go off each other. You know? Even though Vin Diesel didn't come back for the second one, it's just like there is connection in that with the other, but we'll get to that. But like, even like the villain, there's not really a villain per se. I mean, Johnny Tran and his gang, they're antagonists. I guess you could say that Dom's the villain. So what's the story? The story, if you don't know, is Brian O'Connor is undercover as Brian Spillner, and he's trying to track down these hijackers. They hijack trucks, stealing stuff, and the FBI believes it's Toretto and his gang. Well, along the way, Brian kind of makes a connection to Toretto and his gang, and eventually he turns against the police and lets Toretto go. Now, if this sounds familiar, it's because it's Point Break. No, it's Point Break. There's a few things different about it, but it's Point Break. Point Break did it first, you know. Cop, undercover, gets connected, falls in love with one of the members of the gang, which in this time is Dominic's sister, and his Mark's sister, whatever, and he lets his Mark go at the end. It's Point Break, but with cars instead of surfing and skydiving and all that shit. It's cars. And just the sequences, I know pointless CGI is good, but like, just those sequences when they turn on the thing and it shows the knots going through the thing, I always like those. They don't do those much anymore. Every once in a while you get like one in each of the movies, maybe. But they don't do them as much anymore. And even the interactions with like Hector and people from the street gang, Ja Rule with his, it's not how you stand by your car, it's how you race your car. I always remember that line, and like, Hector, you know, I'm glad he came back for, was it 7, I think? But it's like, yeah, just like, I'm struggling to find anything negative with this movie. Maybe the FBI guy played by Ted Lang. I don't remember. He's Ted. He was putting pressure on how to find, you know, Toretto, and, you know, Brian suggests that it could be Tran, and right away they want to do a raid, and they do, without any kind of looking into it. They just, boom, do a raid. They find out that everything was purchased legally, and that kind of sets off the climax of the film in a way, because they get to Race Wars, and Johnny Tran He's pissed. He's like, somebody ought to mean it was you, Toretto. But it wasn't. It was Brian. And like, his family's disgraced or whatever. And I think this was the first, like, I don't remember, like, the villain dies. And I'm trying to think that it's like the only one that the villain dies. Because you think 2 guys survived. 3, DK's still alive. 4, Braga's in jail. 5, the Reyes, he went to jail, right? 6, we're to believe that Owen Shaw died, but then in 7, we find he's still alive, but comatose. And in 7, was it? Well, we know that Deckard Shaw is still alive because it's Hobbs and Shaw, and he wasn't the only villain. Though. I think Djimon Hounsou's character dies in 7, but like, and I think the villain from Hobbs and Shaw, Idris Elba, I think he dies, but Cypher's still alive from 8. So, like, maybe it's not the only, but it's rare that the villain dies. He ends up going to jail. I think Phoenix died though. I think he died, but like the main villain, I mean. So yeah, just death and so here's a sort of grab. I just thought of this. It's okay. It took the reins from Point Break. It ripped off. You could say ripped off. It ripped off Point Break, but it's been more successful than Point Break. If you think about it, Point Break had 1 movie. Fast and Furious, now 9. If you count Hobbs and Shaw, 10. You count the new one that's coming out. So, although Hobbs and Shaw is a spinoff, so 9 counting the new one, and Hobbs and Shaw is a spinoff, but it's more successful than Point Break, even though Point Break did it first. Point Break's had a remake. That's it. And Point Break's a good movie. I'm not taking anything away from Point Break. I love Point Break. But this movie, you could say, ripped it off, and it's been more successful than Point Break. Somebody in 2001 went to see this and said, it's a good movie, but it's ripping off Point Break. It's not going to go anywhere ripping off Point Break. Nearly 20 years later, they're probably eating their socks right now. Just like, oh, it's so wrong. You know? Probably earlier than now, but about the time the 4th movie, because once the 3rd movie came, like, oh, they ruined it, and I was not going to be anymore. 4th movie came, and boom, 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 we got more. I feel sorry for that guy, actually. But, yeah, this movie is, I really can't think of anything negative. No, even like the antagonist, like Vince, like I said, there's not really a villain. Johnny Tran's more of a fly that won't leave you the hell alone than anything. And you can't really say that Toretto's gang is villains. Where in Point Break, the Patrick Swayze and his gang, Bodie and his gang, they were sort of villains. But the sympathetic villains. They're just trying to make their way. It's just like, maybe they're just antagonists. It's not really a villain. Antagonists aren't villains. Villains are like orchestrating things. Antagonists are just there against you, I guess. But, yeah. I'm just rambling at this point because I can't think of anything negative with this movie. Because I'll just give my score 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. Why not 10 out of 10 if I can't find anything wrong with it? I don't know. I reserved the 10 for 10 for like super special movies. Like the original Child's Play, I think I'd give that a 10. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, I'll give that a 10. Special movies. And to this, it's a good movie. Give it a 9 out of 10. What are your thoughts on the Fast and the Furious? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. and I'll see you.